There's the two sides who think she is only popular and does have the notoriety and recognition that she does because she is white. There is the other side that says you guys are crazy, you're all jealous of her, and she is just talented.
I mean, the league was built on the backs of talented black women like yourself. I mean, these white girls come along, right? Cameron Adler, Caitlin Clark, and they're instant superstars.
The one bit where all these white girls come along and they're instant superstars, it's only Caitlin Clark that was the instant superstar.
You gotta admit there's something special about her game though, right?
Yeah, she's white.
Their argument is that she's popular because she's white. Then why didn't Stewie turn the W on its head after winning 4 natties with UConn? Why didn't Sabrina turn the W on its head after being called like a media darling?
No one saw it coming, least of all Caitlin Clark. Just days after Law & Order, SVU aired a scripted attack that humiliated the WNBA's biggest star by reducing her talent to a punchline about race. The backlash was immediate, brutal, and loud.
Here's what Caitlin Clark could do. Y'all come at me like this, I'm not doing any interviews with you. Y'all keep coming at it with these dumbasses, Monica McNutt. I'm done with you. I'm not doing interviews with you. We'll go play in the Unrivaled League, and let's see which league gets going. And then let's see where the hell we're at. Your dumbasses at ESPN want to get up there and be racist as hell towards me. I don't participate in racism. Next time I hear that bullshit, we ain't playing in a game that you're televising.
And now, the show has issued an apology because the internet wasn't having it. Fans flooded NBC with outrage. Celebrities, athletes, and analysts slammed the show for crossing a line that should have never been touched.
So there is an episode of Law & Order that was just aired on April 10th, and it's called Bubble Wrap. It is season 24, episode 18. I think that a lot of people, myself included, are very tired of this narrative when there's so much proof of the reason Caitlin Clark being popular, and it is because what she does on the court.
This wasn't just fiction, it was an ambush. And the apology, while overdue, confirms what we already knew. They went too far. But this isn't just about a TV episode. This is about respect, race, and how the media keeps trying to rewrite Caitlin Clark's story. Not today, not on our watch. The episode that started it all aired like any other installment of Law & Order, SVU.
When's the last time you heard about Law & Order? That Law & Order scene cannot be written without Caitlin Clark. That mention cannot happen without Caitlin Clark because you couldn't say it for Elena Delle Donne or Brianna Stewart or Sabrina Ionescu or Sue Bird or Paige Beckers.
But this one had a twist, one that turned the show's courtroom drama into real-life controversy. During a scene that had nothing to do with sports, a conversation suddenly veered toward the WNBA and took a direct shot at Caitlin Clark. A fictional character named Cameron Adler, a thinly veiled stand-in for Clark, was slammed as a white player who, like Caitlin, had allegedly become a star overnight at the expense of black athletes who had built the league.
Caitlin Clark mentioned on Law & Order.
You've been talking trash about her for a while, right? Saying that she was a joke, that you were going to kick her ass.
Come on, man. It was just talk.
Look, I get it. I mean, the league was built on the backs of talented black women like yourself. I mean, these white girls come along, right? Cameron Adler, Caitlin Clark, and they're instant superstars. Everybody's saying they put the league on the map.
And they're getting all the endorsements and sponsorships. Yeah, it's messed up.
You gotta admit there's something special about her game though, right?
Yeah, she's white. But I hear you. Cam could play. I had a lot of respect for her.
Really? Just didn't look that way.
It was a big game. We're both really competitive, and we got into it. But that was it. We even talked after the game for a bit, cleared the air.
Yeah, so she was good with that elbow you threw at her face?
Didn't say she was good with it, but she joked that it was good for the game, that it would get us lots of media coverage.
Then came the line that ignited the firestorm. Yeah, she's white. That single sentence took the internet by storm. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't metaphorical. It was a direct, racially charged jab aired in primetime. For millions of fans watching, this wasn't just a fictional opinion. It was a scripted, deliberate attack on a real person, and the target wasn't just any athlete. It was Caitlin Clark, the most talked about name in women's basketball, who had done nothing to deserve this kind of treatment.
You stand up to bullies. You don't acquiesce. Because when you acquiesce or apologize, it will never stop. You stand up to bullies. You tell them go F themselves.
The backlash was instant. Social media lit up with outrage. Fans flooded comment sections. Sports analysts and celebrities called out NBC for dragging a real athlete into a fake controversy. Even people who don't watch basketball knew what the writers were doing. They weren't just telling a story. They were pushing a narrative. one that questioned the legitimacy of Clark's success and painted her achievements as a product of privilege, not performance.
If it was because she was white, Sabrina Ionescu would have changed and brought the WNBA and turned it on its head, but she is not turning the W upside down on its head like Caitlin Clark is.
But here's what the writers clearly didn't expect. The world rallied around Caitlin Clark. From NBA players to college coaches to everyday fans, people defended her relentlessly because deep down, everyone recognized what was happening. This wasn't about race in the abstract. It was about punishing someone for rising too far, too fast, and too loudly.
Here we go again. Why is Caitlin Clark popular?
People aren't spending 3 hours of their time to watch Caitlin Clark play basketball because they're racially motivated.
The anger reached NBC's front door fast. Petitions were launched. Viewers threatened to boycott. And suddenly, the writer's room went silent. What was supposed to be a clever moment of commentary had turned into a PR nightmare. They had underestimated just how powerful Caitlin Clark's impact truly was, and how fiercely her fan base would defend her.
Yeah, so she was good with that elbow you threw at her face?
I didn't say she was good with it, but she joked that it was good for the game, that it would get us lots of media coverage.
She may have a whole bunch of turnovers, but she does things in a way that you haven't seen. She does things that are exciting to watch.
By the end of the week, the pressure became too much to ignore. NBC, along with the producers of Law & Order, SVU, issued a rare and carefully worded apology. They didn't name Caitlin directly, but everyone knew who they were talking about. They acknowledged that the scene may have unintentionally referenced real individuals and apologized for any offense or misinterpretation, but the damage was already done.
Clark's popularity and the reality of the fans that are celebrating her is so different than what you see on social media. You never hear, "Go white girl!"
Still, for many, the apology felt like a small victory. It was the media finally admitting that they crossed a line, that hiding behind fiction doesn't excuse character assassination, that Caitlin Clark didn't ask to be dragged into their agenda, and she didn't deserve to be used as a scapegoat for a broader cultural debate.
It all comes back to Caitlin Clark's popularity. I believe it is based on basketball more than anything else. Look at what went viral from the Letterman clip, her playing basketball.
What started as a moment of humiliation ended with the world forcing the media to take accountability. And for the first time in this saga, Law & Order backed down. The apology may have been issued, but it didn't come from a place of sincerity. It came from pressure. Because what NBC and the writers of Law & Order, SVU, truly underestimated was just how massive and loyal Caitlin Clark's following has become.
There's just so much statistical data to prove why people are invested and interested and can't stop looking at Caitlin Clark. Like, she has broken a record for records. As a rookie, she has done things nobody else has done. Stats do not require race as a prerequisite. They just are what they are.
They thought they were writing a quick moment of social commentary. What they actually did was poke the hornet's nest of a fan base that spans generations, cultures, and borders. Caitlin Clark isn't just a basketball player. She's a movement. And trying to reduce her to a racial stereotype wasn't just tone deaf. It was strategically insulting. It tapped into a growing pattern we've seen across the media. When they can't ignore her numbers, when they can't discredit her game, they target her identity. And Law & Order played right into that narrative. But this time, the public pushed back harder than anyone expected.
She's different. She's a white girl from the middle of corn country.
They like Caitlin Clark because she's not a victim, because she doesn't seem to be angry. And so they find her relatable.
Let's be clear. Caitlin has never said a word to divide. She doesn't bring up race. She doesn't insert herself into culture wars. She plays basketball better than most. She has elevated the WNBA's profile single-handedly, driving ticket sales, increasing viewership, selling out arenas, and introducing millions to a league they'd previously overlooked. Her jersey is the most sold in the league. Her games dominate primetime ratings. Her name alone has become synonymous with the WNBA's explosive growth.
Every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured, because she's keeping your league afloat.
Juju Watkins goes down with a devastating injury that might keep her out next season. God forbid. If the same thing happens to Caitlin Clark, the WNBA will not survive. You have one young woman carrying the entire league.
Yet somehow all of that was overlooked in a scripted one-liner that sought to minimize her success. And that's the part that fans and even other players found so hard to accept. It wasn't just a bad take. It was a total erasure of what she's done for the game. Even media insiders were stunned. Writers and journalists who cover the league professionally called out NBC for pushing a divisive message. Some even admitted that if this had happened to any other player, particularly a black woman, the backlash would have been instant, global, and unforgiving.
Caitlin Clark is relatable and popular, and people want to see her play because she's exciting as heck to watch and because she's not filled with anger. People are attracted to joy.
But because it was Caitlin Clark, the silence from certain circles was deafening, and fans noticed. What Law & Order did wasn't just distasteful, it was cowardly. They used her real name, her real accomplishments, then used a fictional character to say what they didn't have the guts to say directly. That kind of passive-aggressive storytelling doesn't just reflect poor writing, it reflects an agenda. One where tearing down a rising star is easier than acknowledging the uncomfortable truth. She's outshining everyone, and they can't stand it. And yet, Caitlin said nothing.
Caitlin Clark made the comments to Time magazine. Monica McNutt recently said on BBC, perhaps a big reason for Caitlin Clark's popularity is she's white and from the Midwest.
The Monica McNutt stuff, and specifically with this level of media, we're talking about with ESPN, their issue with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark represents Trump America, MAGA America. They see her and they say, this is someone that everybody who roots for probably voted for Donald Trump, and I hate Donald Trump, and I hate those red hats, and I hate everything that represents to me. Because to me, that represents racism.
No tweets, no interviews, no complaints. She didn't demand an apology. She didn't play the victim. She went right back to work, lacing up, showing up, and proving that her greatness is rooted in action, not reaction. That silence, it spoke volumes. Because while the media tried to frame her, Caitlin Clark let the court do the talking. And the scoreboard always tells the truth.
And Caitlin Clark does have a further 3-point range than even Steph Curry, and that is just kind of bonkers. Think about how popular Steph Curry is. Caitlin Clark shoots farther away on average than he does.
While NBC scrambled to clean up their mess and fans demanded justice, Caitlin Clark remained the one thing the media couldn't control, unbothered and unstoppable. And while Law & Order issued their vague apology, Caitlin responded the way she always has, by letting her game speak louder than any headline, script, or fake narrative ever could. Since that episode aired, Caitlin has done what she does best, put on a show. Her performances have been nothing short of elite. She continues to lead all rookies in assists and three-pointers, pulling up from the logo and making it look effortless.
And little girls said, hey, I can relate to Caitlin Clark. She's like us. She has a boyfriend. There's a lot of parents that feel real comfortable taking their kids to a game.
She's been involved in the league's most watched games, drawing millions of eyes, not because of controversy, but because of pure skill. And that's what rattles her critics the most. She doesn't just dominate, she does it with grace, poise, and consistency. Every arena she enters sells out. Every city she plays in turns into a media event. Her name trends without even trying. She's not just the face of the Indiana Fever. She's the face of the WNBA, whether some like it or not.
Prevailing narrative that has been created around this season's WNBA play is that it's the league versus Caitlin Clark. And that is just absolutely false. It is unfair to the women that have been there building this league to this moment so that Caitlin Clark's popularity could take it to the next level.
There's a method to this madness. When given a chance to talk about Caitlin Clark, they're always going to racialize it and try to demonize Caitlin Clark's fan base.
And let's talk impact. Since Caitlin joined the league, attendance has surged by over 48%. Jersey sales hit historic highs. Broadcast ratings have doubled, even tripled in some matchups. WNBA merchandise sales rose by over 300%. No other player, not even league veterans, has driven numbers like this. So when a network like NBC tries to claim her rise is simply a matter of race, they're not just wrong. They're insulting every fan who showed up, tuned in, and bought in because of what Caitlin brings to the game.
Former black players have decided, hey, we're going to hate on Caitlin Clark constantly to elevate ourselves, but also trigger her fans so that they'll keep coming to games and rooting for her, and it's going to elevate the entire league.
What Law & Order tried to do with one sentence, Caitlin Clark undid with every three-pointer, assist, and sold-out crowd that followed. She proved, again, that narratives don't win games. Talent does. And her rise can't be reduced to a skin tone, a trend, or a political angle.
Number one revenue sport in America. What do you think it is? The NFL. How much do you think they make? $17 billion. The NBA, a little over $11 billion. You guys are a $150 to $200 million company. You're operating at a loss every single year. You've never made money. It's called a zombie company. You're subsidized by the NBA.
It's built on years of hard work, unmatched vision, and a competitive fire the league hasn't seen in decades. So while networks apologize and critics scramble, Caitlin keeps doing what they can't, making history, in silence, in motion, on her own terms.
Who's going to be the next face of the NBA? We don't get to decide that. The marketplace decides that. The people have chosen Caitlin Clark. They enjoy watching her play, her style, her energy, her shot. Whether it's because her game mirrors one of the greatest players in the NBA in Steph Curry or not, I don't know what it is. It's an intangible thing, right? Yes, we can say she's a dog. Okay, there's been other dogs. Okay, she's a great shooter. There's been other great shooters. She has it. She's got the thing. I remember when the WNBA started. I was thrilled. I was a fan. I couldn't believe it was an opportunity for me, a 5'2", 97-pound girl, to go play professional basketball. That wasn't going to happen for me, but the idea that it existed was special to me. And now she's offering that to not just little girls, but little boys as well. She's spread the fan base. So
Law & Order may have issued their apology, but the damage is done, and so is the silence. Because what they tried to pass off as fiction was really an attack. A lazy, racially charged dig aimed at a woman who's done nothing but elevate the game with every step she takes. But here's what they didn't count on. Caitlin Clark doesn't fold under pressure, she rises through it.
She's not playing with anger. She's not playing with a sense of entitlement. And yes, people find that relatable.
She didn't clap back. She didn't demand headlines. She didn't need to. Her response came in the form of sold-out arenas, record-breaking stats, and the kind of performance that makes critics irrelevant.
What happened is Caitlin Clark in her sophomore year and really in her junior year just started excelling and doing things that nobody had ever seen a female basketball player do. Like nobody had consistently been shooting these from the logo passes.
She shoots logo threes, passes the ball like Magic Johnson, scores a lot of points, leads the league in assists. She's a great, great player, and she plays and shoots and releases the ball like Steph Curry. So there's the attraction to the exciting style of play.
While the media plays games, she plays basketball. And that's why she wins, on and off the court. So let them apologize. Let them scramble to save face. Caitlin Clark doesn't need their validation because the world's already watching, and they've chosen their favorite.
Monica has figured out a way to make the WNBA relevant and profitable long term. The lady from the BBC, she seems to be asking Monica McDougal how the WNBA can maintain their momentum from last season. There's an easy answer to that question. More than likely, they can't.
Two things. I think it has to show up in our storytelling, and it has to be encouraged by our families.
Yeah.
To me, right? And so covering the WNBA this past season, Caitlin Clark's rookie year, for all of the conversation that surrounded her, some which was fair and some which wasn't, the one thing that I cannot deny is the amount of little girls that were showing up to follow her, little girls with their parents and the fervor and the energy there.
Why her?
Same thing.
Why her?
Well, I was just about to say same thing for Angel Reese when I had a chance to cover their games. But I think Caitlin represented, and again, some of this to me probably is not fair to her because it was not anything that she said or was truly based on her personality, but she was a white girl from the middle of America. And so she represented a whole lot to a lot of people, whether that is truly what she prescribed to or not. We can all say she is a dynamic basketball player and a force both on the court and the marketing sense. But I do think same thing with folks that may have fallen in love with Angel Reese that she may or may not have agreed with everything they had to say either. We attach our fandom to these icons for all types of reasons.
Where are these Angel Reese fans? When I see Chicago Bravado games on TV, the only things I see are missed layups and empty seats.
If you stand with her, drop Respect Caitlin in the comments and subscribe for more truth that cuts through the noise. Because no matter what they write, script, or spin, Caitlin Clark's story is bigger than any network, and it's only just beginning.